can you engage in fresh pursuit in another person's home? All right. Hey guys, my name is Anthony Bandiero. I'm an attorney and senior legal instructor for Blue to Go Law Enforcement Training, bringing another Roadside Chat. This question comes from an officer in Colorado. He says, all right, in your book, The Search and Seizure Survival Guide, you mentioned fresh pursuit being allowed into a home for a serious violent felony. What I've never been clear on, though, is if it has been the suspect's home, or can it also, does it have to be the suspect's home, or can it apply to any home, right? So let me give you some background here. So first of all, what is the officer talking about? In my book, The Search and Seizure Survival Guide, I talk about hot pursuit and fresh pursuit. So I want to let you know that I separate these two doctrines out into distinct doctrines, okay? So number one is hot pursuit. Hot pursuit is really when you're chasing somebody. I like to say hot pursuit is when you're hot on the person's tail. You can see them, and where they go, you can go, with one caveat though. Generally speaking, you cannot enter a home with a misdemeanor offense alone, right? The fact that they're running and have committed a misdemeanor, those two factors alone do not allow you to enter the home. The reason why is the U.S. Supreme Court said so in a case called California, or Lang versus California. The Supreme Court says, hey, look, you need some form of exigency, emergency, urgency. Why do we have to get this guy right now? Why can't he retreat into his home without you getting a warrant? So things like, to protect somebody else in the home. Maybe he's a domestic violence suspect, misdemeanor. Maybe there's weapons involved. Maybe he'll destroy evidence. Maybe he'll escape. It's probably not a super high threshold, but it's something more than nothing. I also got to tell you, the Supreme Court didn't address directly felony evasion, right? Hot pursuit. The closest case we have on it is a case called Santana, where a lady suspected dealing narcotics retreated into her home, and the police chased her. A lot of people believe that case stands for the proposition that any felony will allow you to enter a home. I would be very careful with that. I think that if the Supreme Court is called upon to answer, hey, does a non-violent, non-exigent circumstance felony hot pursuit into the home allow entry? I think the answer is no. I mean, imagine that you have a person who's committed check fraud. They wrote a check that is insufficient funds, and in that state, it's a felony. And the police they see the person walking on the street, and in order to take that person in custody, whatever, the person beelines it into their home. Can the police enter? I think the answer is no. I think the fact that the felony alone. Now, fresh pursuit, so that's hot pursuit. Fresh pursuit is when you're tracking somebody down after they have committed a violent felony, right? So imagine bank robbery, murder, sexual assault, and so forth, and you get on scene and you start finding clues about who the person is, and you track that person down to their home. Can you enter? Yes, if you have probable cause of violent, serious violent crime. These are very serious crimes, like the top of the food chain type stuff. Do you have reason to believe that they are currently in their home? Did somebody see them go into their home? Because again, this is not hot pursuit. So you're trying to, usually it's circumstantial evidence that they're inside their home. The car is in the driveway, the lights are on, and so forth. And do you have some exigency? Destruction of evidence, danger to community, danger to police, imminent escape, and so forth. If the answer is yes, then you get to go in there and take that person to custody without a warrant. How long do you have? In my book, I say, look, more than 2 or 3 hours is really pushing it. This is not like 2 days later type stuff. This is like, man, we have a crime that just got committed. Let's track this guy down to his house, and we want to get him in custody. But it's like, it's something. There's ongoing exigency is the point. The officer asks, does this hot or fresh pursuit rule apply to third party homes? The answer is yes, because remember, you have some form of exigency to get that person in custody anyway. So whether or not they're at their home or they're at their friend's house, the exigency is still there. Now you have to articulate what the exigency is, right? Just because they committed a felony is not enough. You know that, right? That's patent where the Supreme Court said that committing a serious crime, in that case it was murder, but no exigency does not allow the entry into the home. So even though I try to find some cases on this, and I actually have not found really any cases directly on point. And I think it kind of makes sense because if you think about it, if the suspect goes into a third party's home, does the suspect have standing to contest that entry? The answer is probably no. Who has to do the complaining? The occupant, the homeowner. But why would they want to sue their local policeman? Why would they have a beef? They usually wouldn't, because they wouldn't be implicated in the crime. Now, if they are implicated in the crime, let's say they're an accessory after the fact or co-conspirator, and we found evidence against them while we're in the house, then they would try to complain about your entry, and it'll go back to the fresh pursuit rules that I described. Does that make sense? So one last thing, if you don't mind, is that, hot pursuit and fresh pursuit, you'll see in case law and also statutes that they use those terms interchangeably. Fine, I get it. Some people say hot pursuit when they mean fresh pursuit, what I teach, but I still think that there's value in understanding each doctrine separately and using separate terms. Hot pursuit on their tail, fresh pursuit on their trail. All right. If you like these videos, all I ask is something simple, right? Just if you can hit like, subscribe, and so forth, that lets YouTube know, hey, show these kind of videos to like-minded people. Until next time, my friends, stay safe.